Good morning. I'm Vice Mayor Smith, the Chair of the Boards and Commissions Committee, and I'd like to welcome you to the April 13th remote meeting. All council committee members and staff are participating virtually. We appreciate your patience as we work through holding these committee meetings a bit differently. To help our audience follow along, I'll state each section of the agenda aloud. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website. We are also opening up the option for the public to listen live by phone. For those who are out there today, welcome. For today's meeting, we have the option for people to call in and comment live during the meeting. To call in and comment live, use the same number, 855-925-2801, and use meeting code 9478. Your phone will be muted and you will hear the meeting live. At this point, speakers will need to push *3 to enter the speaker queue. I'll go through and introduce all committee members and staff who are participating virtually. Please make sure you mute your microphone if you are not speaking. When you would like to speak, unmute your microphone. Please remember to mute your microphone after speaking. Council and staff, as I call your name, please say a quick hello. Councilwoman Antoinette Mosley.
Good morning.
Councilwoman Kim Roney.
Good morning.
Deputy City Clerk Sarah Gross.
Good morning.
Assistant Clerk Jerry Goldberg.
Good morning.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the January meeting minutes? Well, February minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll do a roll call to approve the motion. When I say your name, just say a quick aye for approval of the minutes. Councilwoman Mosley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Staff, I'm opening up public comment. Do we have any callers? I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, sorry. We do not have any callers on the line.
Okay, cool. Okay, we have a few April appointments. The first committee we'll be looking at is Audit Committee. The staff liaison has recommended reappointment of Amy Kemp, who is a certified public accountant. And staff liaison has also recommended appointment of Andrew Emery to replace Gail Miller. Is there a motion or any comments? And we'll do it one by one. Correct, Sarah? Okay, so we'll start with the reappointment. Is there a motion?
Motion to reappoint Amy Kemp to the CPA seat.
A second.
All right, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilwoman Mosley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay. Our next appointment is of Andrew Emery. Is there a motion to appoint Andrew Emery?
I move to appoint Andrew Emery to the Audit Committee.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Councilwoman Mosley.
Oh, excuse me. Aye.
That's fine. Roney.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, we have approval for this recommendation. We move on to the Board of Adjustment, and this is an alternate seat. The chair has sent a recommendation to appoint Wendy Taub. Is that Taub or Tab? Tab. Okay, Wendy Tab. Is there a motion to appoint Wendy Tab?
I move to appoint Wendy Tab to the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
All right, I'll ask for a vote for approval. Councilwoman Mosley.
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney.
Aye.
And myself. All right. The Mountain Community Capital Fund Operating Committee. The chair recommends reappointment of both eligible members, Dee Williams and Lynn Smith. And can we do this all in one for the appointment of both? Okay, we'll do it for the appointment of both. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, second.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Councilwoman Mosley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney,
Aye.
and myself, aye. All right, our last appointment is to the Public Art and Cultural Commission. And I believe we also have a recommendation here. The commission members recommend Reggie Tidwell.
Can I say a word here, Vice Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
As a working member of the art and music community in this community, I have to say, I read every single word of every application twice. And my heart is warmed that we have so many brilliant, thoughtful people in this community that lifted up their ability to serve and to present time and energy during this time in our community when we're just giving so much already. So I'm really encouraged, but I'm also hearing the recommendation, prepared to make a motion for Shirley Walker Whiteside.
Okay. Are there any more comments? Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second? Are you muted?
Sorry, my thing crashed for just a second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second for the appointment of Ms. Shirley Whiteside. I will do a roll call vote. Councilwoman Mosley,
Aye.
Councilwoman Roney,
Aye.
and myself. Thank you. And lastly, we have a new committee, the Design Review Committee. This was a part of the adopted ordinance 4855 regarding the new standards for hotel development. This new committee is a joint committee made up of members from the Asheville Downtown Commission and the Asheville Area Riverfront Redevelopment Commission. So y'all see Shannon Tuck is here with us today from Planning and Urban Design Department, and she's going to talk to us a little bit more about the new commission structure and duties. Shannon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody. As the chair has indicated, this new design review committee was established as part of Ordinance 4855, which we commonly refer to as the hotel ordinance. Prior to this ordinance, the city had two standing design review committees, one each for the Downtown Commission and a second for the for the riverfront area. And so the way it worked before is if you had a project in those areas, you would go through informal design review with this subcommittee, the standing subcommittee. And then once the details were kind of worked out there, it would be presented before the full commission for a final vote. So what Ordinance 4855 did was collapsed those two standing subcommittees into one new independent design review committee. And it added the hotel overlay district to that too. So it's adding design review for hotels as well. So in addition to one of the membership requirements, of course, is that there are 8 appointments. It's a 9-person committee. 8 of those seats are appointed by council. 4 of the members are appointed from the Downtown Commission and 4 from the Asheville Area Riverfront Redevelopment Commission. So the applicants that you have that have been shared with you to date are those from those 2 respective commissions. We have 5 from the Downtown Commission, we have 4 seats, and we have 2 right now from the Riverfront Redevelopment Commission. We have heard that there could be a 3rd coming in, and we'll continue to work on seeing if we can get at least 1 more person interested. The 9th seat will be filled by the committee members themselves. Once the committee is officially formed, they will review applications for that 9th at-large seat. So besides the membership from one of these two commissions, the other qualifications that we're interested in for design review is that individuals have either design experience, so they're a licensed design professional, or they have demonstrated a special interest or experience in design. So you don't have to be a licensed professional, although that's helpful, but you have to have some, or ideally you would have some experience in design. And we're asking that the majority of the members who are appointed, so not necessarily all the members, but the majority of which would have this design experience. And that is primarily to kind of help build integrity in the design review process. It's very helpful to have people who are familiar with design principles in order to be able to properly assess and apply the design guidelines. And that really kind of is it. As I mentioned, currently we have 7 applicants, 5 from the Downtown Commission and 2 from the Asheville Area Riverfront Redevelopment Commission. I'm not very familiar with Mr. Williamson, but I feel that all of the others meet the design qualification standard, having either been a design professional and working in that field or being an individual who has demonstrated special interest. And I believe, from what I understand, Mr. Williamson probably falls in that category as well. I'm just not personally familiar, but either way, it wouldn't necessarily matter because it's just a majority of the members who need to have that design experience. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are we prioritizing residents of the city?
We haven't, we're really just looking primarily for people who have good understanding of design. I don't know that we're necessarily prioritizing residents.
And what happens if we don't get enough applications from the 2 committees?
We'll go ahead and proceed and form the commission. And for any seats that are vacant or absent or not yet filled, any votes would just be a majority of the members who are seated. So if we have only 6 people to start with, we would just need a majority vote to move projects along until we fill those seats. And so we'll just kind of continue working. They're pretty large commissions. I think there may be a little misunderstanding. I think we might just need to kind of do a little bit more outreach and education to some of the members. I think there's been a little concern that since they also all serve on a larger commission about just sort of the time commitment associated. So getting some permit data about how many applications we can expect in a year and, how long we think these things might take or a typical meeting might last, I think would be helpful. I don't think it's as much work as individuals maybe are concerned that it could be. So we'll continue to work and see if we can't fill those remaining seats. But we'd like to go ahead and get the committee formed so that we can start to receive applications and kind of move things along in the pipeline.
And once it's formed, I'd be really interested in knowing what efforts are being made to along the lines of diversity for this commission.
Sure.
I had one last question. This is sort of like a procedural nuts and bolts thing. I remember there was a change in the multimodal commission, and I think it has to do with the bylaws of the commission, where instead of bringing someone up from the subcommittee, we could appoint someone to the multimodal, and that would place them on the other committee. Would that require a change in the bylaws of this group?
Well, this group actually doesn't have their own rules of procedure established yet. That will be one of the first orders of business once they're formed. So we could sort of look at these kind of creative structures to see if there are some options there.
Okay, that helps inform my next question. So if we were to leave an opening, so for example, right now we have a need to do 4 and 4. If we maybe filled 3 and 2 or 2 and 2, would that present an opportunity for openings to ensure equity at the table in the future?
We could proceed that way. I feel like I'm pleased that the candidates that we have thus far, I feel like there's a fairly good representation amongst those candidates. So that's positive. But if the council and this committee is concerned about that and wants to kind of ensure we can start smaller with a smaller group and kind of build that over time.
If we don't complete the 4 and 4, will that delay the appointment of the 9th at-large member?
I think that'll be a decision for the committee members once the committee is formed. We have kind of started to think about advertising for that 9th seat so that those individuals will, have a group of applications to kind of start to consider. And of course, that's an at-large seat, so we potentially have a more diverse population to choose from with that seat as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking through, because if we have vacancies, it's kind of hard to gauge what equity would look like for that 9th person. If we really wanted that 9th person to fit some type of equity quota, just something to think about. Are there any more questions from the committee or anything you would like to share, Shannon, in closing?
No, I think that concludes what I had planned to share. Just look forward to working with this new committee.
And this is up for a vote April 27th, correct?
I believe that's correct. Sarah, can you confirm?
Correct. It is on the council agenda for the 27th. At today's meeting, we're asking y'all to make a recommendation that would go to the council.
A recommendation, I don't understand, what would the recommendation be?
Of the application, so if you did want to do the 4 or the 2, who you would recommend to move to be recommended at the council meeting?
Okay, I get it. Thank you. So, so we're voting on the recommendations right now, or we're just putting a recommendation about the makeup? I'm just a bit confused.
I would recommend a recommendation for who and what that makeup would be. So maybe it's not the 4 and 2, but if you do have names that you do want to recommend forward, if it's 1 through 4, or
I don't have names yet. Do others have names yet?
I have a couple. My recommendation would be for Guillermo and Kimberly Hunter from the Downtown Commission, and for Ben and Robin from Riverfront Redevelopment, if I have that correct, to make it a 5 so they have an odd number. I could lift up Jane as well, but I'm open to hearing recommendations.
If I may,
Robin is with the Downtown Commission.
correct. That's what I was just going to.
Jane and Ben are our 2 Riverfront.
Okay, so I have that backwards. Thank you for clarifying. So Ben and Jane from Riverfront, and then Guillermo, Robin, and Kimmy from Downtown Commission. If we need more time, I'm also open to scheduling a additional meeting of the Boards and Commissions Committee, a special meeting if we need to before the 27th.
So if we were to come back on the 27th, then we can make a full recommendation to move up to a council vote, correct? Yeah, I think that's the route. I think that's the route we need to go, because I was unclear that we were making a recommendation for appointment. I thought we were just hearing Shannon today about the recommendations from each commission for us to consider.
Yeah, and that's fair. This was a little bit of a different process than making the recommendation that would go to council tonight. So we have that time built in, if that's how we want to proceed.
That's how I'd like to proceed.
I did think of one additional point that might be helpful for council members is the Riverfront Redevelopment Commission, their design guidelines include design requirements for the landscape and not just the structures. And so they expressed interest in having landscape architects or other design professionals who have that kind of experience. Of the applicants that you have before you today, we have 2 licensed landscape architects, Mr. Stephen Lee Johnson and Mr. Guillermo Rodriguez. So those are our 2 that we have currently. And I just thought that was an important piece of information I should share because I know that that was a concern of the Riverfront Redevelopment Commission.
And it seems best to go this route because you said that only 3 were lifted from one of our commissions and they didn't have the full, the complete recommendation from, is that what you said before? I think you.
Yes, we only had 2 applications that came in from the Riverfront.
Okay. But there's a third possibility.
There is a third possibility, and we'll probably get that figured out this week.
Okay. And are they self-appointing or are the commissions nominating people?
Self and that.
Self-nominating. Self-nominating.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just schedule another meeting on the 27th before the final vote so that we can, I feel confident then to put forth a recommendation.
Is there any additional information that you would think could be helpful in your decision-making process? And if so, staff would be happy to try to collect additional information for you.
Okay, thank you.
And I think what we can do is also continue to accept applications from the 2 boards. So we may have more applications in time for the 27th.
Okay. Okay, I'll now open it up for live comment. Are there any speakers in the speaker queue?
I do not see any speakers in the queue.
Okay, are there any other comments from the committee?
Well, do we have informal discussion
Oh, yeah.
regarding virtual meetings?
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped that part. I guess Jerry for virtual meeting updates and
Sarah's going to give, yes, Sarah will give the virtual meetings update and I'll give the outreach update, if that's okay.
Yeah, just 2 quick updates as far as how the virtual meetings are going. We are looking at opening up live comment for all advisory boards and commissions. So we're piloting with the Planning and Urban Design Department. I think Shannon actually had the first meeting with Planning and Zoning. And then next would be Historic Resources Commission. And as we train more staff, we're hoping that, and this is a commitment, all committees will have some form at least starting in June. So we're kind of training staff and trying to get to that point. And then the second highlight.
Sarah, can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this because we've learned so much about how to increase accessibility for poor and working and elder and differently abled folks to be able to participate, folks who maybe don't have childcare. So I know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have some very specific permissions regarding member participation. But were there any reasons why we would have to end the public comment accessibility?
Great question. So as far as the legislation that permitted us to do the remote meetings, I don't know that is spelled out in any way as far as the legislation. So I did. Perhaps. I hope so. And one of the things, Public Input, as you know, is the platform that we've been using. They are looking at doing some hybrid scenario. So that would be excellent for us, I think. But I don't know what that looks like yet. And I'm hoping that's the direction that we'll be able to go. But I don't know enough about it to commit.
I think it would be helpful as we enter into the next level of budget conversations to know if there would be a fiscal impact on increasing our accessibility or maintaining our accessibility at this point.
If there are no more comments, we'll move on to public comment.
Sorry to interrupt, do we have an update on outreach as part B of that? section?
Oh, yes, Jerry.
Yes, we do. So we are moving forward with public service announcements, PSAs, through Asheville Radio Group and iHeartMedia have both committed, and those could be starting possibly as soon as next week. We have an interview scheduled with JM Pro Media in Spanish with Rosanna Mulcahy as our staff liaison to be doing that interview. Ola Carolina has also committed to interview, but that has not been scheduled yet. The JM Pro is at the end of it's either next Thursday or Friday. We still have not connected with WRES. I've sent 2 emails and I've gone by twice and there's been nobody there. So if any of you know how I may reach Elder Hayes, or if you know if Sophie Dixon is still working with him there, if you could let me know, because I'm just having difficulty not getting any response. And that was even asking for advertising rates. Urban News, we are working with them. They've put a block, it's not even an eighth of a page, but a little ad in there, but they are not committing to doing any stories or PSAs of any kind at this point in time. Hopefully we'll be able to pique their interest with some stories as we get more targeted information out. That's where we are with that. We've checked on pricing for translation services and interpretation services. Right now, of course, we don't have budget for that. Interpretation in particular there would be a fairly significant fiscal impact, but we are still working and coordinating with CAPE to see about translation, at least, of some of the flyers and information that we do put out and what we have accessible on the website. So that's all in progress, and I'll keep updating you. Any
I had
questions?
a question about that part. Was that something that we would contract out, like have an RFP for?
Right now, CAPE does have a contract for translation and interpretation services, so we would hope to piggyback on that. So I don't know when that contract expires, but I believe it would be an RFP. Sarah?
I'd be interested to know when the contract expires, and any details of the contract in general.
I can send you. I have a copy of it somewhere, so I will get that to you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
The best time to contact someone at WRES would probably be early morning. They do a very early morning live broadcast.
Okay.
And then the rest of the program might be pre-recorded, but I'll try to help you lock down a time where someone's in the studio.
Yeah.
But I'm just betting that early morning.
Okay. I can swing
Around
by
8
on my
o'clock
way.
or before 8 o'clock will probably be the window where they have live broadcast.
Thank you.
All right. For the third time, we're going to move to public comment. Is there anybody in the speaker queue?
No, we do not have anyone in the queue.
In that case, good to see you all today. This meeting is adjourned.
Good seeing y'all.